What's up, everyone? Kevin Oak here. I wanted to make another story time video, and this is actually a really important one. It's something that I think to make videos about often, but I'm never home when I think about it. I'm always like at the gym, but it's something that was very pivotal for me in my athletic career. So I really want to get this out to you guys because hopefully it can help you. But I want to talk about this cue that I have, or I don't even know if it would be considered like a cue. I'm sure a psychiatrist could break it down exactly what it is, but I'm gonna take you guys back, back about like 18 years. But back when I used to run, a lot of you know I used to be a runner. That's what I ran through college. I ran at Villanova University. I was All-American in the 100 and 200 meter dashes in high school. So my sophomore year in high school, right? Indoor track, which was winter track, it was during the second season. We had county championships, right? Now, I was just a sophomore. I had been in plenty of big races, but the majority of big races that I had been in were usually like age groups, so it would be people my age. Like when I did Junior Olympics in 8th grade, I went to like Junior Olympics, Nationals, like team champs. I went to a lot of big events, but it was always people who were my age. When I was 13, they were 13, right? So freshman year in high school, I was pretty quick, but I wasn't like top. Like I was one of the good guys, but I wasn't like I was the fastest in my high school, but I'm saying like compared to the county, I wasn't like the fastest, right? So the first season of track sophomore year is indoor track. So the first big meet that's like an actual championship is county champs. So for Suffolk County, which is in Long Island, where I grew up, there was large school county champs and small school county champs. I believe we were considered small school. I went to Half Hollow Hills High School East, for anyone who's familiar with Long Island and Suffolk County. But there was small school and large school. I think we were small school, I forget. So the top guys in the county, basically the fastest guy, and this is about the 55 meter dash, which is the shortest sprint there is, right? The fastest guy in the county was Oliver Williams, and we weren't in the same division. So if I was small school, he was large school, or vice versa, right? But I had the fastest in my division, who was right behind him, I think was Omar Logan from Amityville, right? So there's a bunch of races indoor, mostly at like the Armory. Like there's a bunch of invitationals, right? So I'm ranking pretty high in the county now as a sophomore. I'm way faster than like any of the freshmen or sophomores, right? The only people who are close to me would be like seniors, the top seniors in the county. Like I said, Oliver Williams, Omar Logan. There's like David Jackson, who also was from Amityville. I forget who else, right? But nobody's really expecting me to like win county champs or anything like that, I don't think. But it's like I'm getting faster and faster and faster, right? I'm getting closer to the big boys. So it's the day of county champs, right? And I mean, I was always competitive. So in my head, like I want to win, obviously. I don't even really remember what I was thinking. All I remember is we used to have all of our big meets in the county at Suffolk County Community College, because they were like the only school with an indoor track at that point. And this is when I was in high school, but there was Suffolk had the indoor track, and then Farmingdale had an indoor track, but they were considered in Nassau County. So I don't know what was going on. I was probably fucking around or something. I'm walking around. I think I just wasn't very focused for whatever reason. Like I don't remember exactly what's going on, right? But my coach, he walks up to me. His name was Mr. Kerwin. I think he's still my coach of the team. I forget. He comes up to me. He asks me something. I literally don't remember what it was, but I said something along the lines of like, oh, like I can't focus today, or like something like that, right? So he just told me, he's like, listen, he's like, the race isn't, for like an hour or something. I think we already did the prelims. So he's like, the race isn't for like an hour or something. He's like, but listen, when you tie your shoes, when you put your waffles on, because indoor you wear waffles on tracks that you can't wear spikes, right? He's like, when you put your waffles on, you have to tell yourself, like, this is, you mean business now. this is when it counts, right? You can be relaxed all the other time, but once you put your waffles on, that's when you got to go in the zone, right? So I don't even know if he did this on purpose, but literally that was like a huge turning point for me. And that's where I was able to to become a different kind of athlete, because I could like click in and out of like being relaxed and then like it being go time. So for whatever reason, I don't even know if he meant this, but when he taught me that, or when he told me that, from there forward, every single time, like I always have that as a cue. It's usually my shoes, right? Like when I go to the gym, if anyone ever sees me when I walk in, I always sit down. I could talk to people, whatever, but once I change my shoes and I tie my shoes, or like I put my headphones in, I just click into it. It's literally like I've taught myself almost like a dog. Like mentally, I have to kind of like drop myself and just be like, I'm clicked in. So that is something that he taught me, and for whatever reason, it stayed with me. I ended up, when he did that, when the race came up, right, I just remember, like, when I put my waffles on, as crazy as it sounds, when I tied them, I just remember being, like, hyper-focused. Just being, like, just so focused. And I'd never gotten myself into the zone like that before. For whatever reason, having that cue now of, like, hey, like, when you tie your shoes, specifically, like, when you do that specific thing, you have to click in and it's go time. And you teach yourself that. So when I did that, for whatever reason, like every warm-up I did, I was like hyper-focused. Every drill I did, and another thing he told me, he was like, every single thing you do, once you do that, has to be like specific. It has to be for a point, it's for a purpose, and it's all for that goal of what you're doing at that moment. So for whatever, like every single thing I did, I was like on point. Every step I took, I was like, has to be perfect. Everything has to be on point, and I just taught myself that. And the guy I was going against, the thing with him, right? Like Oliver Williams had a better start than me, and he was faster than me. Omar Logan, who I was cool with, like nothing negative, but I knew I was faster than him, but he usually had a better start than me, and I would have to chase him down, and I would usually run out of room because it's a 55-meter dash. And that day, because of that cue, for whatever reason, I was so focused, and I was just standing there, and all I could say in my head, I'm like, just fucking beat him. I'm like, every fucking step you take needs to be fucking perfect. It needs to be the fastest fucking step you've ever taken. It needs to be the most explosive step you've ever fucking taken. Every single fucking step has to be fucking perfect. And I was like, when that fucking gun goes off, fucking beat him. Every fucking step, make it fucking perfect. The second you hear that gun, don't even think. I'm like, don't even have thoughts. I'm like, every single fucking step is going to be the fastest, most explosive step you ever had, and there is nothing else. That is it. Period. And sure enough, literally, like, I could not think of anything else. The second we got up, when we got on those blocks, there was nothing else. There was nothing else in the world. All I can think is when that gun goes off, every single fucking step is going to be the fastest, most explosive fucking step I've ever taken in my life. And that's it. There's nothing else. I'm like, every fucking step is going to be the fastest step I've ever taken. And that is it. It's not even, in my head, it wasn't even a race. I wasn't even running anymore. There's literally like one step, and then there's the next step, and there's the next step. And every single one of those steps is the fastest, most important, most explosive step in my life. So when we did it, I always had a terrible start. I had the sickest start I've ever fucking had up to that point. I heard the gun and I was fucking out. Every step was like I was fucking Michael Jordan, how explosive it was. I felt like fucking LeBron James coming, like every step was so explosive and fast. I literally didn't even see anyone out of the side of my eyes the entire race. Literally, I was just fucking gone. I did not look like that was it. I was like a horse with blinders. I fucking flew, and I won the race. I won my first county championship. as a sophomore, which doesn't really happen because you gotta remember when you're younger, when you're a sophomore, there's still that odd, like, you're still kind of going through puberty in a way where you're not really like there's still a big difference between being a sophomore and a senior. Like when you're in college, it's like everyone's the same, you know what I mean? But when you're a sophomore versus a senior, there's still a huge amount of growth that happens in that time, so you're at a disadvantage. But I went in as a sophomore, and that day literally changed who I was as an athlete forever. But what I really want you guys to take away from this is the cue part, because I think a lot of people have issues with this. And you have to train yourself to almost be like a dog and be hypnotized with these cues. So when you're approaching a lift, there has to be some type of cue that you always tell yourself. It has to be the same, and you can't really think. It just has to kind of be like, when I have this cue, I go into the zone, and that's it. You can't think to go into that zone. It has to be like, this is the cue, I'm in the zone now. And I have that. And it's just one of those things you have to, it's extremely important as an athlete, especially in a sport like running, where it's like, you gotta have a fucking awesome start or you're out of the race. But in powerlifting, it's very similar because basically you're doing one rep. You're not doing like 10 reps fast like CrossFit or something where it's like, oh, maybe the second rep sucks, but the sixth rep is good. And like, I'm just kind of averaging out and I'm getting this time. It's like, no, you have to hit this fucking rep right fucking now. And that is a huge thing that I think people have issues with. Like one thing, if you've ever, anyone who's trained with me long enough or been around me and see what I do, they'll notice that I never repeat. If I miss something, I missed it. And that's a very important thing. And I see people do this and I'm like, don't fucking do that. Do not, I'm like, that's a terrible cue and you're programming yourself to miss and for it to be okay. Anytime if I go for something big in training and I miss, I do not take it over. Because you have to teach yourself that right now is the time that I have to hit this. And that's very important for meets. Because if you fuck that up in training, and like, oh, you miss a lift, you're like, oh fuck, like my breathing's off, my timing's off, like whatever, like, oh man, all right, I'm gonna go for it again. And then you hit it, you just did yourself a huge disservice. Because in competition, you have to fucking hit it then and there. And things aren't gonna be perfect, it's not gonna be in your time, but you have to put yourself in that zone and make sure that you hit it at that fucking time. So that is a terrible cue that I see people do, and anytime I do it, I want to go up to them and be like, don't fucking do that. But I mind my business most of the time. But if you take anything away from this video, I want you guys to take that away. I want you to give yourselves a cue that when whatever the fuck, it doesn't matter what it is. It could be something as simple as like, oh, when I latch my belt closed, I'm in the zone now. It could be something as simple as that. But you have to get that specific cue and you have to do it over and over and over again. Yeah, that's about it. I hope you guys take something away from that. Get your cues. This is extremely important. If you miss a lift in training, do not take it over. You have to teach yourself to fucking hit the lift at that moment. Not another moment, not 10 seconds later, not 10 seconds earlier. At that exact moment, when you get to the bar, you have to hit that lift. There's no other option. There's no other option. There's not 10 minutes later. There's not next Tuesday. You have to hit that lift at that exact moment, and that is it.